All right, everybody, this is Mike Kai. I'm so glad that you are here sheltering in place wherever you are in the world today. I'm hoping you get some game on, some exercise, get the blood pumping, get the endorphins moving. I'm really excited because in the Leader Lift podcast that we have today, we're taking a little bit of a segue from Leader Lift, and we're doing something called Holy Hoops right now. So you know me, if you know me by now, you know I'm a baller, you know I still love to play, grew up in that kind of a household. And so everything basketball right now, there's only one season in my life. It's called basketball. It's college and NBA. I don't care about football. I don't care nothing about baseball, although I played it. I care nothing about these sports. All I care is that we extend the basketball season. And since we are jonesing for some hoops and we have not had an opportunity to shoot it up in a bit, no college, March Madness. Hey, I always say, schedule your surgeries during March Madness because that's when you need to recover during March Madness. And then from there, we would jump into the NBA season. But because there is none, I decided to create this thing called Holy Hoops. Now, other people have already had this idea, but I had this idea as well. So I'm not stealing nothing from nobody. I got great friends who are already doing something like this, but you know me, I love basketball. And about a year and a half ago, I came into contact with a man that to me I hold in high regard. He's awesome as a human being, as a gentleman, as a pastor. But I didn't know later on until we started talking and he played basketball. And so my good friend, Pastor Earl McClellan from Dallas, Texas, Shoreline Community Church. Did I get that right? Shoreline?
Shoreline City, but whatever you want to call us, we'll take it.
We'll take it the right way. Shoreline City. Yeah. And he's all the way from Dallas, Texas. He's a friend of mine. He's a brother from another mother. And we have a common interest in basketball. So I thought, why don't we break down The Last Dance just a little bit, maybe episode 1, 2, maybe 3, 4, hit a little bit of 4, 5, whatever it is. But I want to welcome to the podcast, the Holy Hoops, AKA Leader Lift podcast, Pastor Earl McClellan. Everybody, welcome Pastor Earl. Pastor, good to have you.
Hey, I'm excited to be here. Excited. We're going to have a great time. Hey, just so you know, I admire your basketball skills too. No, and I haven't even had the chance to play with you yet, but I already admire them. I've seen them on Instagram, but I admire you more than, as a man. But I'm thrilled, man, that we get to have this opportunity to hang out and talk basketball and leadership and life and whatever else comes our way.
I love it. Anytime I get to go to the mainland and I go to the same kind of events that we go to, I see you there. And it always brightens the thing up. And I'm so glad that you're there. And so blessed to have you in my life now. And so Earl, we started talking at Hillsong. We started talking about the different ARC spaces that we've been together. But then I found out that you played ball, and I knew that. And then you're a time release tablet. You don't say everything. You know what I'm saying? It comes out a little bit slowly. And then I find out, you play ball. Then I find out you played at Oral Roberts University. Then I find out that you still balling, you're still playing in league. So tell me, Rev, what's going on?
Hey, man, I'm just trying to keep up with you first and foremost. And I'm trying to keep up with my 15-year-old son. So I've got these 3 great kids, our 15-year-old son, our 9-year-old son, then our 4-year-old little girl. But my 15-year-old, man, he loves basketball. So this is great. I did not push it on him. Matter of fact, I did not put a ball in his hand. I don't know what age. But it was really around the 7th grade or so, I think, that he really started getting interested in basketball. And then it was just a little bit. But now, I mean, he every day, especially with all the shelter in place, we've got a little hoop in our driveway. He's out there every single day. Last summer, saw him take so many strides. So now it's so much fun. And then The Last Dance, I feel like I'm living a dream. I'm watching MJ, I'm watching the Bad Boys, I'm watching, all these guys from back in the day with my 15-year-old son. So I feel like I'm living a dream right now. Parker gets a little aggravated with me with just hugging him all the time. I'm hugging him and kissing him. I'm like, Parker, I can't believe I'm watching this with you right now. And he loves it. He doesn't love the hugs and kisses as much, but he loves watching it with his dad. So it's been fun.
Parker, let me put your hands over my ears. MJ just swearing a little bit too much. Okay, Parker, you can listen.
We're watching the G version. We're watching the G. They have like on ESPN, they have like the mature version. And I guess the church version.
The beeped out version? They have that?
Yeah, they have that. So we're watching the bleeped out version.
Okay, I need to go find that version. Because I've never heard so many F-bombs on TV in ever. Anyway, so I didn't know that existed. Thank you, Earl. I appreciate
it's
that.
There, man. It's there. I think one's on ESPN. The other one's like ESPN2 or something like that. I don't know.
Okay, so that's good to know. So Earl, tell me, how did you? Who's your favorite team growing up?
Yeah. Favorite team growing up. Now, I grew up in the northeast part of the United States, a little state called Rhode Island. So I'm from Providence, Rhode Island. So that's New England. So, the Celtics are obviously up there. But I would have loved the Knicks a bunch when I was growing up. That would have been a team that I had a ton of affinity for. Even, I think it was this past week's Last Dance, when John Starks does the left-handed dunk. I remember watching that game, and I'm right-handed, but it was because of that dunk that's how I try to dunk now. I try to go up like that whenever I'm going to try to dunk, right? The 2 times a year I now try it. But I remember him throwing it down on Jordan. Wow. I remember that poster. So I love the Knicks. Obviously, you had to have tons of respect for the Bulls and Jordan, back then. And the Pistons I loved. But I would probably say the Knicks would have been the team that I would have gravitated towards the most during that time.
Wow, the Knicks. That's amazing because I'll be honest, I loved Jordan in college. I loved him. I thought he was incredible when he was in college. When he left North Carolina to go pro early, I was bummed, but I knew it was coming. But I never really liked him in the middle of his career. In the beginning, it was the shoes, Morris Blackman. He had his own shoes, his own kicks. That was amazing at that time. And Nike, just took off after that. But I remember just watching Jordan, and I didn't really like him because who I really liked growing up was I was a Philadelphia 76ers fan.
Oh, Dr. J.
Dr. J, Mike Ivoroni, Billy Cunningham. We're going down to Bobby Jones. We're going to, Mo Cheeks. We got Lionel Hollins.
Yeah.
I could name the whole roster. And then we brought on Charles Barkley. And then that team was awesome. And then I was looking for a team that I would love because I knew that Dr. J was going to retire. So I was kind of scouring out the world, the eyes of the Lord search to and fro throughout the earth to find whose heart is for him. And so I was looking, and in the college game, I loved Isaiah because every short guy is always looking for a short guy to look up to, right?
That's right.
So Isaiah was the man. He had the $1 million smile, baby assassin. And Indiana University was my team. Bobby Knight was my coach until I found out he choked people. But before that, I loved Indiana. So Indiana was my team. Isaiah was my boy. And then he went to the Pistons. And then I started liking the Pistons when Julius, Dr. J, retired. Okay. And I went all in with the bad boys. And
well, so, Dr. J was so classy, such,
debonair.
Almost. And then you went to just like the hood. You decided to go the opposite direction there with the bad boys because those guys are mean.
Yeah. It was a great era of basketball. And I honestly would say I was probably one of 7 Detroit Pistons fans in Hawaii. Just one of 7.
I was going to say maybe in the world.
No. And they were so good, bro. And I tell you, I love them so much. I had a Pistons starter jacket.
What? Okay.
I don't know where it is today. I think I gave it away. I can't believe it. I took a picture with Isaiah Thomas when my brother-in-law sang the national anthem in Portland, Oregon. And I went to the game because I got backseat passes, took a picture with Isaiah. We same height, bro.
He's probably your height. Yep, that's right.
Maybe about like 6'4", right? No. He's about barely 6 feet. And so that's where this is in me, bro. When I was a kid, I slept with this. I took jumping courses. I would do anything to stretch myself and to grow, but never got to the level. My brother, on the other hand, I poured everything into him.
It's because the Lord knew if you were 6'6", we wouldn't even know each other. You would still be in the league, right?
That's right.
Now, you'd be a grandfather in the league. That would be your story.
That's why you're here, and that's why you're here.
You'd be Vince Carter. You'd be Vince Carter right now. 48 years in the NBA and still Grandpapa.
So Earl, let's talk about the Last Dance. So before we do, but let me tell you, where'd you play at?
Oh, well, obviously, you got the high school basketball, and I went to a really small school in high school. It was only like 200 students in my school, but very, very small school, really about like academics and everything, which I loved. So went to that school for high school. But I did not get any letters. I had like maybe one Division III school that sent me a letter, maybe. So then I ended up going to Oral Roberts University just because I felt like, honestly, that's where God wanted me to go. So I went there, and I ended up walking on to the team. So Bill Self was my coach my freshman year. And,
Crazy. Kansas coach, everybody. Bill Self from
Bill
Kansas.
Self, yep. Now he's a Hall of Fame basketball coach.
Right.
So he's my coach my freshman year. Matter of fact, I got to go to the Hall of Fame, his induction. He kind of pulled a few different people from the different teams that he had coached. So a bunch of my buddies from ORU, we all went out there together. It was like a huge reunion, seeing all those guys. And then obviously there's a number of players from the NBA from his time at Illinois and his time at Kansas that he brought over. These are some players from the University of Tulsa. But anyway, so those 4 years I played at Oral Roberts University. But I started off as a walk-on. I mean, I just was the runt.
That's awesome.
And, scrappy and trying to dive on the floor and just trying to, clean up water bottles when I needed to and do all of that. But randomly enough, like I started my freshman year. Okay. So I was a walk-on, but I started my freshman year.
Wow.
But I like to give some context for that because the team had about 12 guys on it at the beginning of the year. But by about January, there were about 7 or 8 guys left on that team because so many guys got kicked off for so many different things that they were doing. So I got thrust into the starting lineup, not because my skills were so elite, but because plenty of people got kicked off. There's a leadership lesson for you. If you hang around long enough and you just keep being faithful, who knows what doors might open up for you. But that ended up, that door happened. And then obviously I didn't go on to play after that. That is a regret I do have. I wish I would have gone to try out for some teams. I don't know that I was good enough to make it, but it would have been fun to at least go out there and say I did a couple of tryouts. But I was getting married. I'm so glad I got married. I got, obviously the most amazing wife in the world that I love so much. So that's kind of how my story with basketball kind of ended up where it's at today. And now I'm a whole guy taking ibuprofen before I play. But I'm going to keep playing until I can't play anymore.
I like the way you did that. You did that. I got a good visual of a basketball, passing out between your hands. I love that. So you walked on. So this is my little college story. I went to the University of Hawaii when I was 17 years old. I was short, but I grew like 3 inches in college. But when I got there, I was playing pickup ball every day. That was my nemesis. In fact, that's what got me kicked out of college eventually. Was all I did was play hoops. I came back the next year, but I was playing, and there was this one point guard that the University of Hawaii had recruited. His name was Troy Bowe. He was like 5'10", short, stocky ball handler. And I remember playing pickup with him, and he goes, "Hey, what, you gonna play for the team?" I'm like, this is a recruit asking me if I'm playing. And I told him, nah, I'm not good enough. And he's like, nah. Well, anyway, the next year comes out, the coach gets let go. They bring in a guy named Riley Wallace. And then Riley Wallace is cleaning house. Coach Riley Wallace, best basketball coach University of Hawaii ever had. He cleaned house. And by the time he cleaned house, they didn't have enough walk-ons. They didn't have enough players. So they wanted to ask 5 local boys to come walk on to the team.
No way.
One of the assistant coaches, his name was Bob Nash. He would come in. He played for the Detroit Pistons back in the day. Short career, but tall man, 6'10". He would walk in. He was Riley Wallace's top head assistant coach. He walked in. I saw him watching. He was watching. I started, just turning it on. I get a phone call from him 2 days later saying, "Hey, Mike, I've been watching. We're trying to recruit just some guys just for 1 year. Maybe, who knows if you want to walk on." I said, wow, I was honored. I want to walk on. The problem was, found out I only had 9 credits because I was 1 class short because I was working full time, and I only had 9 credits. And it was too late to get that that next 3 credits.
You're kidding. You kind of get 12 credits or whatever the threshold was.
You had to have 12. The window closed, and there went my coulda, shoulda, woulda.
What?
But I still,
again, you could be in the league right now. What in the world?
Hey, from one almost walk on to another. Come on, brother. So Earl, let me ask you a question from The Last Dance. What's been the best part that you've been loving about The Last Dance?
Oh my goodness. Well, one, just to step back into time in a time when we're all sheltering in place and can't go and watch basketball.
Right.
And now you have like one of the greatest seasons and decades of basketball just being spoon-fed to us with behind-the-scenes footage, most of which I have not ever seen. You know, you've seen so many of the highlights and stuff. You've seen that. But, man, Jordan sitting in that back room with those with the security guards and him, you know, gambling, I mean, on everything. It's just fascinating to see all of this behind the scenes stuff, to see the relationship with Scottie Pippen, to see how Phil Jackson came on there, to see how they were treating the general manager. I mean, from thing after thing, there's so many, not only leadership lessons, but just the pure enjoyment. If you like basketball, and honestly, if you just appreciate Michael Jordan, you're getting like this look-see into the behind the scenes of his life in an era that was so incredibly special. So I'm loving that, man. But how about you? What are you loving?
Well, I'm loving the behind the scenes stuff of how he feels about Isaiah. You know, I mean, if you've been watching First Take the next day, in fact, you should be watching First Take right after this, because they're breaking down Isaiah and they're bringing Isaiah back into the fold, and you're watching Isaiah and how he's defending and how he's also explaining and bringing context to the whole thing. And it's still up for debate, but I'm running with my man. I don't see
how they could have had Isaiah on the team, because again, you know this, any team, whether it's business team, church team, family team, whatever it is, the chemistry is so important. And we learned last episode or maybe the episode before, how Isaiah had beef with Scottie Pippen. He had beef with Magic Johnson.
Magic too.
Magic too, yeah, but I know he and Magic kissed, so maybe I thought they made up. Then you got all these different people that he had issues with because he was just so feisty. So you take John Stockton off of that team, you put Isaiah Thomas on. I don't know if they have as much fun. And that was going to be a big piece of that whole team and the fun and the joy that they had together. I'm sad for Isaiah because I wish he would have had the chance to do that.
He deserved it. He deserved it
as far as his play, his skill, but he didn't. Again, I don't know all the backstory. I was not there. But if you're putting a team together, you just want to have that chemistry piece be so right. And they already had such a high level of talent. They didn't really need more talent. They just needed some pieces to come in there to kind of keep it all together. John Stockton, Chris Mullins, those
Christian Laettner,
you know, I don't know about that.
That was a gimme.
That could have been you. Honestly, I think that should have been you instead of Christian Laettner.
He got my spot. Are you saying that? Okay, so I was thinking about this when I was thinking about the organization. If you looked at the Pistons organization, unity from top to the bottom, that's what we saw. You watch ESPN 30 for 30, unity top to the bottom. It fell apart towards the end because of age, fatigue, long runs, 5 years going to the playoffs, if not the semis, if not the championships. But when you look at the Chicago Bulls, what do you think about this? Because I've been noticing you got Jordan, he's the star. Everything revolves around Michael. Phil Jackson revolves around him. But then on the other hand, you've got the leadership of Jerry Reinsdorf, who owns the team. You've got Krause, who's trying to make calls. Who to you is the biggest culprit on why this didn't last?
Ooh, that's it.
Because there's an obvious and there's a, hey, we're forgetting all about. Tell me.
Yeah, you know, I'm going to go with the owner probably would be my ultimate in all of that, because I think the buck stops with him with the team. Right. And he put the GM in place because he wanted the GM to assemble the team. But just like he went and signed Phil Jackson because he wanted to sign Phil Jackson, even though Jerry Krause really didn't want that, the owner said, this is what I want to do. This is a step I'm going to take. So I think at any point in time, if he did not like what was going on, or if things were as dysfunctional as they obviously were, I think he could have made a change. But since he didn't, they still won 6 championships. They still were one of the best teams ever. Obviously, they had, what I would consider, the greatest player of all time. And I know that's up for discussion. I never saw Bill Russell play, so I don't know about.
Yeah, not for mine. MJ's the greatest. The greatest.
Yeah, he is. Something obviously incredibly special, about the way he played the game. But that's where I would put the onus. I would put it on the owner ultimately. How about you?
I would say the owner, but I would put it on this man, Phil Jackson.
Okay.
Because there's something about Phil Jackson going, I'm the head coach. You guys don't act like this. I'm going to do whatever I can to build my relationship with ownership with. I feel like if Phil Jackson is such he's a literal guru. Yeah. If he is such that type of peace kind of person, and I felt that if there was anybody's responsibility for the team that should have done something to bridge the divide between management and player personnel, it is the coach. The coach is the bridge. Wow. And so the coach was the guy that, with his stature of leadership, I felt like Phil Jackson had the gifts and the capability in order to broker that kind of deal for peace. We don't know if he tried. We don't know what level.
Yeah, that's what I wondered too, because Krause was, it seemed to be so, again, talking about Isaiah Thomas, that feisty kind of, I don't know, bull in a china closet. This is the way I see it. This is what I want to have happen. My way or the highway. So I'm wondering, and I don't know what those interactions were like, but when you have a leader like that, that's over you, and you try to take those steps towards that leader, but you got a guy that maybe is insecure, or maybe is frustrated, or maybe just wants things his way or her way, you just go, all right, well, if that's the way it's going to be, I'm going to make the best of it with the situation that I've been given. So I can definitely see that, though. I can definitely see your point. But I think it keeps going above.
No, you're right.
Those guys,
ultimately,
those are the guys that are like, they make the decisions. They write the checks. Like, you're not on the team. They didn't change Scottie Pippen's contract, right? I mean, they made that decision.
Right.
One of the greatest players the best two-man ever to play. Right. And they were like, nah, what you signed, you signed. Can you believe that? For Jerry to Phil Jackson, if you win 82 games, this is still your last year.
I know.
What?
Yeah.
Doesn't make any sense now. Doesn't make any sense.
It could have gone on. Could have gone on way more championships.
I think they had another year or two, but it is cool to think Michael Jordan went to the finals 6 times. Right. And won all 6 times that he went to the finals. That's pretty impressive.
That's pretty impressive. I
You getting choked up here?
No.
Hey, listen, man. Listen, I love basketball too. That's right. I love it. Just let it out. Hey, just let it out. It's coming back. I think Adam Silver's got something up his sleeve.
So I didn't get a house with a long enough driveway in order to shoot hoops. Mine's a little slanted, so that's a little bummer. But I have been sneaking back into the office and just because when I come back, I'm gonna be better when I left. Is I'm coming back better. So anyway, working on my vertical, trying to add 3 inches to my vertical. We'll see. Stuff like that. So I've been loving this series because I am glued to it. I can't wait. It just is the highlight of my Sunday after church. So anything you want to add about this season of COVID and how you relating this to basketball or anything with church or what?
Man, gosh, how many lessons have you learned? I know I feel like I'm learning so much. And one of the things that gave me so much hope is I don't have to know all that God is doing right now. I can look back on it after we get through this season and go, man, I grew in ways I didn't even know that I was growing. It's like when you're looking at that flower that you planted or whatever that you planted, and you keep looking at it every day and it looks like nothing is really happening. Then you see a little bit of, something kind of comes to the ground and you're like, okay, something's happening. I think I'm growing. I think I'm getting better. I think my capacity is increasing. People are telling me that, but you feel a little bit because you got so much frustration, so much aggravation because things aren't the way you want them to be, and you're still trying to be thankful in the midst of all of that. Like, keep a good attitude because your attitude determines your altitude, and you're trying to talk to yourself.
Hey, I used that last week.
So I think one of the things that's been helpful for me is to give myself the grace to know, hey, I'll look back on this and probably see I've grown in ways that I don't know that I'm growing right now. I'm trying to be intentional. I'm trying to read. I'm watching The Last Dance. It's my leadership development for Sunday. I'm trying to do the things that I can. But at the end of the day, I am trying to enjoy the story and not just try to create some system for my life in this time. I want to enjoy the story. I want to enjoy what God's trying to write, what he's trying to do in me, what he's trying to do through me, how I can love and serve others. And the story is ultimately not about me anyway. It's ultimately about him. So let me just try to, play my part really well. Let me be the Joe Dumars of the Bad Boys. Let me be the Dennis Rodman. I don't have to be the star. The star is the MJ of this thing is Jesus, right?
Come on.
We already know that. So I'll be Bill Cartwright if I need to, with the crazy shot,
the halo shot.
I don't care. I'll be the last player on the bench. I just want to help win championships. I just want to see people come to faith in Christ. I want to see the lost come home. I want to see people develop in their relationship with God. So I don't know, man. I'm just kind of taking all that together and trying to enjoy the journey as much as I can.
Awesome. It's been good to have you, man. I really enjoyed your insight. I like the humor. I love laughing with you. And thank you so much for taking the time. Is today a day off? What's your day off now?
Day off. Gosh, do we get one now? I don't know, man. It seems like all the days run together, but I try to do Fridays.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Mine's turned out to be Saturday. Mine has been turning out to be Saturday. Nice. Yeah. So today I got a couple other things lined up to interviews and whatnot, but I want to thank you for your time, bro. I hope you had a good time.
I had a blast being here. Can't wait to ball together. Oh, look at that form.
How's my elbow?
It's perfect. I mean, there's nobody can ball like you.
It looks good right here. It looks good right about here. That's another story.
It doesn't matter. We can edit the shot in later.
Yeah. I didn't show you this. Have you been admiring my basketball in the background?
I saw that back there. What is that?
It's a Coach K signed basketball. Coach K.
Oh, wow. Yeah. Nice. I see that.
Yeah. Wrote me a personal letter too. Says, Mike, I wish you were available growing up. I would have recruited you, but nah, I'm just kidding. Anyway, hey, my man, thank you so much for your time.
Hey, appreciate you, man, for sure. God bless.
Yeah, God bless everybody. Thank you so much for tuning into the Leader Lift podcast. My good friend, Pastor Earl McClellan, Shoreline City Church, all the way in beautiful Dallas. You guys got shores in Dallas? I didn't know that. You guys got water?
No, it's a long story, but we love the name.
Awesome. I can't wait till I see you again, my brother. God bless you.
Good to see you too, man. God bless.
Take care.